You know, for most of my life, I carried around a quiet kind of anger, not toward anyone else, but toward myself. And if you stay with me for a few minutes, I want to show you how an old man finally made peace with his own reflection. My name is Samuel. I'm 82 years old, and it took me nearly 8 decades to make peace with the man I used to be. It's an odd thing, realizing your biggest enemy once looked back at you in the mirror every morning, and an even stranger thing when that enemy slowly becomes someone you can finally sit with. When I was younger, I thought being hard on myself was the only way to grow. And maybe you felt that too, that nagging voice that says you don't deserve to let things go. I told myself that if I didn't allow forgiveness, I'd stay sharp, hungry, disciplined. But really, all I did was chain myself to every mistake, every foolish word, every time I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. I replayed those memories as if punishing myself could somehow rewrite them. It didn't. It just made me smaller, and it made my world colder than it ever needed to be. The truth is, the man I was in my younger years had no idea what he was doing. I was proud on the outside, terrified on the inside. I thought love was something you had to earn, that silence showed strength, that being right mattered more than being kind. I see now that I was only doing the best I could with the little understanding I had, clumsy and stubborn as it was. It's a hard thing to admit that you didn't know any better, but it's even harder to live refusing to see it, carrying old judgments like stones in your pockets. I think the turning point came one afternoon, not because of some great tragedy or sudden epiphany, but because of a photograph. I found an old picture of myself holding my first daughter. I must have been in my late 20s. My eyes were tired, my smile unsure, like I was pretending to know what being a father meant. For some reason, that photo broke something open in me in a way no lecture or book ever did. I realized that the man in that picture wasn't cruel or cold. He was scared, just trying to find his way in a life that suddenly felt far too big for him. For the first time, I felt sorry for him instead of angry. That small bit of mercy changed more than I expected. That simple moment started to change everything, slowly, like a door left slightly open that you keep noticing each time you walk past. I stopped referring to my past self as him and started thinking of him as me, the same me who failed, yes, but also tried over and over again. The same me who made promises he couldn't keep, but also kept showing up anyway, even when shame made it hard to look people in the eye. When you start to see your younger self not as a villain, but as a part of your own survival, something shifts inside you. Forgiveness sneaks in quietly, almost like breath returning after a long dive, and you realize how long you've been holding the air in. There are days I still remember the sharp words I said, the dinners I missed, the times I chose pride over connection. For a long time, those memories were like a courtroom I kept dragging myself into, sentencing myself again and again. But one day, I asked a question I had never really allowed myself to ask. If I had known better back then, would I have done better? And the honest answer was yes. That was the moment I understood that the man I used to be and the man I am now are not enemies. They're chapters of the same story, each one necessary for the next to exist. These days, when I look back, I don't measure my worth by the things I got wrong. I measure it by the fact that I kept moving forward despite them, even when it felt like I didn't deserve a second chance. I used to think forgiveness meant saying the past didn't matter. Now I know it means saying the past doesn't control me anymore. It means being able to think of that younger man and whisper, "You did your best," and actually mean it without adding, "but it wasn't enough," at the end. If you've spent years wishing you could go back and fix yourself, let me tell you something that took me a lifetime to learn. You don't need to fix who you were to love who you are. The past isn't a cage, it's a teacher, one that finally lets go when you've learned enough to be gentle with yourself. There is a kind of quiet strength in finally saying, Yes, I was that person, and I forgive that version of me. And feeling the weight lift from your shoulders, even if only a little at first. So, wherever you are, whatever age you find yourself, take a moment tonight and think of the person you once were. Not with shame, not with judgment, just with understanding. The way you might look at an old photograph of a child who tried and stumbled and didn't know any better. One day, you might look back at who you are right now and hope that version of you is treated kindly too. And if this conversation feels close to something you've been carrying in your own heart, I'd be grateful if you stayed, listened to another story. And if you found a bit of yourself in mine today, thank you for watching. And please remember to subscribe so we can keep walking through these memories together.